listeners. Welcome to Plano's Political Pitbull Podcast. I am Esther.
And I'm Ruth.
And today we have a whole bunch of Plano stuff. First, I must make a correction. In the last episode, I said the Texas legislature passed $7.7 billion in public school funding. I should have said a $7.7 billion increase in funding. So we got $7.7 billion more. I believe, if memory serves me correctly, the total package was about over $100 billion. So, sorry about that. Now, moving on. So, we had a bond election in Plano, as well as electing our city council and school board. We also had some bond proposals on the ballot. We went over all of these bond proposals that were on the ballot in previous episodes. And every single solitary one of those things passed in large numbers. There was not a single one that failed. I am shocked because it said very plainly, if you pass this, your taxes are going to go up. Personally, I voted for one, and I voted no on the rest. How they passed, I don't know.
It's almost like people don't understand what they are.
Could be. I mean, it wasn't exactly, it was clear for me anyway. Maybe it wasn't clear when they said, this will increase your taxes. Sort of.
They word them so long and lawyer speak that your eyes kind of glaze over and you really just skim through it.
Yeah.
I know from personal experience.
Maybe they have to bold that and make it say,
why would they do that?
This will increase your taxes.
Why would they do that?
True, why would they do that? Well, the legislature makes them put the wording in there about the taxes.
They make them do it. That's why they do it.
Apparently, it's not that clear, I guess, to people that your taxes are going to go up. But they're going to complain about their property taxes going up. Nevertheless, brace yourself, folks. Next year, your tax bill will be higher. So, at the City Council meeting on April 28th, there were a few things that happened that I must go over. So, first, I didn't know what to call this. Maybe as we're talking through it, we can come up with a name for this segment.
Okay.
So the city approved some night vision binoculars. They approved a purchase for night vision binoculars.
For what purpose?
For the police department, for the SWAT.
Oh, okay.
Right? Everybody's like, oh, okay, great. Yeah, night vision goggles. 14 of them. So I asked Ruth, just like I did with the chicken coop, can you look up and find out how much night vision goggles, or binoculars, not goggles, these are specifically binoculars, go for on Amazon?
So I'll preface that both of these, that all of the ones I found on Amazon that came out first, I didn't go that far down, but the ones that I found that were at the top, all included recording capabilities. And at the low end, you had, this is list price, they're on sale right now, but on the low end, you have $79.99 list price. And on the high end, you have $209.99 list price. There's probably cheaper, there's probably more expensive. I didn't look at it for that long.
But I figure, okay, night vision, binoculars with recording, how expensive could they really be?
Depends how fancy you want to go.
Yeah. I guess so. But these are pretty fancy. I mean, you get the recording, you get a little SD card or some kind of thing so you can back up the recording and watch it later. You can see it at night, which, is the whole purpose of why you want night vision binoculars, to see at night.
There's probably other functions that you might want that these don't include. I don't know. I've never used night vision goggles or binoculars before.
Well, the idea of binoculars is to be able to see far. You want to really get up close and personal, but from afar. But you can't do that during the daytime unless you have specifically ones for night.
So the reason I'm saying that there might be other functions that some of these, like the cheaper ones, don't allow for is I'm thinking it in a camera sense that, like, more expensive cameras, you have more functions that you can get more deeper in the weeds of how exactly you want the picture to look, like changing.
The purpose of these is so the cops can see afar at night.
Yeah, so like
We get that. Okay.
I know, but like if you want to take a picture at night, for example, you have to change you can change the shutter speed, you can change the it changes how much light it can enter the camera lens.
Okay.
I don't know if it's similar with these or not.
Know. I think the purpose is, and I don't even know if they want to be able to record. I just know they're asking for night vision binoculars. I'm assuming so they can see perpetrators at night for the SWAT team when they maybe go in and want to bust down a door. Okay, fine, no problem. Well, the city council decided it was going to approve 111,779 for night vision binoculars. Now, at first glance, one would think, oh, they must be needing a lot of binoculars. No, that is for 14 only. So then I decided I gotta see how much this is worth, each binocular. It came out to over almost $8,000 for night vision binoculars each. $7,984.21 to be exact. Now this was pulled from the consent agenda. This was actually considered non-controversial. I could have told you if I was sitting on city council, it would have been controversial. It was pulled by a citizen who really didn't ask about are these things lined with gold? Do they fly around?
I decided to look up high-tech night vision goggles / binoculars. Some of these are going for like $9,000.
And what, pray tell, do they do?
That's a good question.
Do you want to see a fly at night?
I specifically said high-tech. Because that's what I'm assuming they're going to get. They're not going to get like flimsy Amazon stuff. They're going to get the real good stuff.
This better be really good.
Let's see. Combines thermal and visible light images to highlight objects of interest, enhances target recognition and detail clarity for improved situational awareness, provides flexibility to switch between thermal imaging, visible light imaging, or a fused combination of both modes. Okay, so it has different modes.
Thermal not night vision. That's heat.
It includes heat vision.
So what? In case you missed a person with the night vision, you get the heat vision too?
Well, yeah, sometimes. Sure. Offers thermal imaging with high resolution of 640 by 512 pixels. Offers high definition optical resolution of 2500 by 1440 pixels.
Oh.
In both daytime and in both daytime and low light conditions. Achieves high thermal sensitivity with a nose equivalent temperature difference, blah, blah, blah.
Thermal imaging. Well, why didn't they just say we need thermal?
Features an optical channel with ultra low light sensitivity of 0.001 lux at f1.0. You don't know what any of that means.
I have no idea what any of this means. You probably do. I don't.
Allows for recording videos, replaying footage, capturing snapshots, searching recorded events directly on the device, facilitating detailed analysis and documentation of observations, so you can document.
I can understand they wanting to document, yes. That is important.
Then it has a bunch of other bells and whistles, like can function as a Wi-Fi hotspot.
A Wi-Fi hotspot.
Integrates a GPS receiver for accurate positioning and geotagging of the observations. They might want that.
For what? They know where they are, don't they?
For other people.
I'm sorry. It could.
And it's backed by a 5-year warranty.
Oh, it better be at that price. Better be a lifetime warranty.
So that's the $9,000 one.
I'm sorry. I can't.
$8,000. This is by the same company. So this is a little. Oh, never mind. It's just on sale.
You think they got a deal? I'm sorry, I can't. I love the police. I love you guys. You guys are great. I just can't see. There must have been something cheaper. How about $1,000? Could you get something good for $1,000? But $8,000 for one binocular, and really, that's not what binoculars do. This is more of a thermal, so you could get heat imaging inside the house, which would be a different tool altogether.
So a lot of the time, these are either military grade or for hunting.
Hunting.
Yeah, people will use these for hunting.
Gee, they're really wanting to go after those deer, huh? That is not fair. We need the Plano Police Department needs military-grade equipment. Why do we need military-grade equipment?
That's just what it seems. It seems like the higher end ones are like, military grade for high end for like hunting, like you're serious about hunting.
Oh, you must be really serious. But you said military grade. This is not a war zone. You're not in Iraq or Vietnam. You are or push it up to today, Gaza or Ukraine. You're in Plano. I can't. I'm sorry. I just can't. You don't need military-grade equipment.
I'm just assuming. I don't know if that's actually what they're getting.
For $8,000, I think that's what they're getting because of.
Actually, I said $9,000.
Oh, $9,000. Okay, but
the $8,000 one was just on sale.
Maybe they got a sale.
Yeah, right.
The amazing thing is that Not a single council member said, "Why are these so expensive?" Just ask, what do you need this for? Why are they so expensive? What do they do? And then maybe when you get the answer, okay, then you can justify it. But the fact that nobody asked a single solitary question of why so much bothers me. And I couldn't do it. I don't think I could do it.
Well, you're always thinking about the dollar signs.
You have to tell me, how is it that we are one of the safest cities in America, oftentimes voted the safest city for our size, and yet you need military grade binoculars? Why are you cracking up?
You don't want to know what I just found. I found one that's $13,500.
For what? The Swiss National Guard?
I don't know what it does. I just thought that was hilarious. I'm gonna look. You go on.
I'm wondering if somebody is trying to take advantage of the government. Yeah, I just have to question that.
I don't think these are sold to the government. I think these are also sold to consumers. I think these are sold to consumers.
Not for the majority of the population.
Okay, let's see.
I'm going to move on.
Yeah, move on. I'm just very interested in this.
Now she's interested. All right. I'm going to need my phone that you were using to look this up, though, in a minute.
Okay, fine.
I can't get it. I'm sorry. Love the police. Grandfather was a policeman. He didn't have night vision goggles in his day.
I'm sure he didn't have a lot in his day that they now have.
He did not. Moving on to the Cultural Arts Plan. Did you know we have a Cultural Arts Plan?
I've heard.
Yes.
Briefly.
Yes. So, apparently Plano has a Cultural Arts Plan that a committee has made.
You don't sound happy.
I do not sound, no, I'm not happy about this. It took them a year to make this plan, this committee, okay? And they did a survey. I'd like to know who they surveyed. I did not get this survey.
Okay.
Because my answers were very different. But, so I'm wondering who they surveyed. They claim they surveyed the residents. The residents said that they often leave Plano for arts and culture because we have Dallas, which has a lot of art. It's got large museums. We also have Fort Worth.
It has the whole arts district.
Very large arts district. We have an itty bitty arts district in downtown.
I legitimately think they want Plano to be Dallas.
I think so, but we'll never be Dallas because that's not why people move here. See, people want to get away from Dallas to live in the quiet nicety of the suburbs. Anyway, so 89% of Plano householders have an above average interest in the arts. That's nice. I think that's lovely. They didn't say what kind of art, but just they have an above average interest in the arts. So They said. Again, didn't see the survey. 23% of residents attend art events in Plano. Now,
I didn't even know there were art events in Plano.
Well, that might be part of the problem. You see, some people don't even know, as you do, that we have art events in Plano. Apparently, Plano is not advertising it. I don't know. I mean, you can find a lot of things on like Eventbrite and in the magazines, Plano magazines, Plano Living, Community Impact, has a whole calendar of events, and you can look through all those things. We spend, Plano, already $1.5 million in grants, which is more than any other surrounding cities. And this committee wants an cultural arts affair manager. Cultural affairs manager. So just cultural. Okay? So they looked at this survey and they said, well, we need to make some priorities. Okay?
Yes, because arts is a major priority for the city right now.
Yeah, not the construction. You know what should be a good art display for Plano?
What?
The traffic cone. That should be a good display. Perfect. Here's my art piece, because this is how Plano is right now.
Modern art at its finest.
Yes. They want Plano to be an arts destination for the community and have more varied, high-quality offerings in Plano. Better access to information. Event activities for the adults and young. Hands-on activities for all ages. Expand the role of arts and culture in economic development.
What are you doing?
An affordable workplace and creative incubators for artists.
Incubators?
Incubators.
What does that mean?
I have no idea what an incubator for an artist is.
I've never heard of that before.
But let Dallas make the incubators for the artists.
Wait, I need to look up what that is.
I don't care. It's stupid.
That's hilarious.
Okay? Sorry, didn't mean to use that word. It's nuts. Interest in market demand for specific facility projects or developing cultural arts center. Here it comes. Let's make a building for the artists. So in the survey, 46% of respondents want to support local artists so they can stay in Plano, and 51% want a go-to for information on art events. And 41% think we should develop more creative spaces in the city. I wonder if any of these questions were, do you want your taxes to pay for this?
I found out what an art incubator is.
Oh, okay. What is an art incubator?
It's not as funny as it sounds.
Rats.
I don't know why they chose that name. So an art incubators are a new but growing phenomena in the world of local arts agencies. They are facilities that create a nurturing environment for small and emerging arts organizations by offering low-cost or subsidized space and services.
Of course, subsidized. Why didn't I realize that?
Arts incubators are part of a larger universe of business incubators, of which there are more than 500 in North America, according to the National Business Incubator Association.
Wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute. Say that last part again.
National Business Incubator Association.
There is a National Incubator Association?
Yes. According to this article, abstract of a larger article.
There is a union for incubator. Oh, my head. Only in America, folks, could there be a union for this. Would you like to know what else the survey found? 38% of respondents said enhancing and diversifying arts and creative events and opportunities for all. And 37% said increasing affordable spaces for artists and arts and culture organizations. There's your incubator again. Guess what? We're going to have to pay for the incubator. They also talked with artists and organizations. And here's what they said they want. Stronger district for the arts. A stronger district for cultural identity.
They want to do art in Plano.
More performance and exhibition and studio spaces. Better connections and opportunities. Again, affordable workplace. Funding, of course, for the arts. And only 39% of surveyors strongly support government funding for the arts. Well, that should tell you that majority don't want to fund this. They want it, but they don't want their taxpayer dollars to pay for it. I'm in agreement. 26% somewhat support, and 21% were neutral. 3% don't want to support it at all, and 4% are somewhat not supportive, and 7% are unsure. Why are you unsure? I don't know.
Why is 21% neutral? That's practically the same.
I guess they don't really care either way.
Yeah.
About the arts and or our taxpayer dollars paying for them. But here's the funny part. So in the presentation, the presenter added together the 39% strongly and the 26% somewhat support. They added those two numbers together to make it look like it's bigger than it is. No. No adding. Keep them separate. 39% only strongly supported government funding for the arts. A majority do not. So you know where this is going, right?
No.
They want money for an arts building, that visual arts building that they wanted where there could be studio space.
Didn't we already talk about that?
Yes, that's what they want. And this is the way that they're going to think they're going to get it, by doing this little survey and having this little committee and, oh yes, well, Plano really wants this. No, they may want it, but they don't want to pay for it.
They don't want the city to be in charge of it. Like, they want there to be more arts in Plano, but they don't want their own taxpayers to pay for it.
Yeah.
They would rather it be offered within the private sector.
Well, that's what the respondents of the surveys wanted. So, some funding ideas they had were grants, marketing, individual artists giving money to. Okay.
The city will never see that money back.
Economic development of the creative sector. So now we're going to give welfare, but for the creative sector. And support incentives for creative enterprises in Plano. And of course, the hotel occupancy tax funds. Now, this is actually where you could fund the arts, because the hotel occupancy tax can only be used for certain things to bring in tourism. Mm-hmm. The arts is one of those things. So perfect, okay, fine. I have a bone to pick the legislature about that, but that's what we have to do. Fine, take that money. Technically, it's from people who are out of town and don't live in Plano, but they're giving back.
So I understand the want. You would probably have a bunch of artists in Plano who don't want to move to Dallas, but there's not any opportunity in Plano for them to work and them to pursue their passion. That's probably where this is coming from.
I'm sorry.
I'm just explaining because you're acting like it's a big joke, and I'm just explaining the mentality.
No. They are dead serious. I think this is nuts.
I'm trying to explain the mentality. You don't have to agree with it.
I don't agree with the mentality, no. The mentality, no. I understand they have a passion. I understand they want to do this for a living. But at the end of the day, you make a living by selling your work. Now, granted, most artists get rich when they're dead. Unfortunately, that's when that's when their artwork goes up in value. But there are things that you can do with art that can be profitable, that you can live off of. Not too many, but there are. So some other ideas for city government was they want an Office of Cultural Affairs. They want a policy alignment. Okay, they want to review and align policy in all areas of city arts and culture to best serve the evolving needs of residents and workers and the creative community. Cultural Arts Commission, they obviously want to update the ordinance and policies governing that. And here we go again, cultural facilities. Proactively support and partner in projects that meet the community's needs for cultural facility spaces. Okay, so I do have some good news on this front. The council members, they had some good ideas of how not to spend our money. So Anthony Riccadelli, he agreed that developers do continue to fund, not developers, that they continue to fund art through the hotel occupancy tax. Prince had brought this up in the first place, so he agreed with Prince on that. Not through the general fund, which was one of the bright ideas of the committee. No, he said, bad idea, basically. Not in that way, but that was the gist of it. Because we have a lot of debt coming down the road, right? And a lot of other things that, frankly, in my mind, are a lot more important. He also said, be careful about funding and giving grants to for-profit artists. These are for-profit artists. They make their money doing this. We should fund non-for-profit. He also warns against using bonds to fund arts. We don't need any more debt. And he's skeptical about subsidizing workplaces for artists. I agree. This is a bad idea.
The problem with the city funding arts is also you'll never see that money back.
No.
Art is not that profitable, unfortunately.
And it's also very, very personal. What is beautiful to you is going to be ugly to me. Maybe ugly to me. I hate, despise, don't like modern art. If I have to figure out what it is, it's not for me. I like Monet and Michelangelo.
She likes things explained to her.
The beautiful Renaissance artists, and I'm going to talk about the Renaissance in a minute. But I don't want to pay to see art that looks like a 5-year-old drew it. Okay? That is not for me.
Sometimes with some modern art, it's not about the finished product, it's about how they made it. I find watching people make art, even if it's like modern art, a lot more interesting than the art itself.
Sure, okay. Again, not for me, no.
Well, you're not an art fanatic.
I like art. I went to Italy and saw some of the most gorgeous pieces of work by some of the masters. You cannot believe how gorgeous
You know what I mean.
David is.
You know what I mean.
Or The Last Supper.
You know what I mean.
It doesn't compare. There is no comparison. These people today are not going to be remembered like those folks. Okay?
You're so mean.
I am. I'm very mean about that. I'm sorry. I just am stating a fact. Name me a great modern artist.
I don't know. I'm not in that sector.
Can anyone out there who is not in the art community name a great, famous, modern artist? Or contemporary art, it might be called.
I don't know. There might be someone out there, but I don't follow that. So I don't follow any. I'm not in that. I mean, I'm in the animation sphere, you know.
Okay. So Homer, she disagreed with Anthony on one thing. She said she heard a lot of feedback from residents that there needs to be centralized group within the city government. There needs to be a dedicated city staff member overseeing the arts. Now, this is a quote, that last part. Of course, she wants centralized control of the arts. The great thing about the arts is you don't control it. You can't control an art. Artists do not like to be controlled. Okay? You're not going to tell them what to paint. All right? So
Unless they're a commission artist.
Yes, unless they're a commissioned artist, that's a totally different story. I want to commission my portrait. Okay. But still, you can't centrally control art. It comes from their soul, from their inside of them. Anyway, so they were all for using the hotel occupancy tax. My concern is this next council that's coming on, you've got two people, Steve Levine, who wanted them to take out a $5 million bond this past election for an building for an art center. Now, okay, but he's going to be on council. And you've got Julie Homer, who loves pickleball, and she's a big artsy person. And now we have another person, Chris Downs. She was on the Arts Commission. So we got 3 people on the council that we're pretty sure is going to want more funding for this. And that's scary to me. I must say that Councilman Williams, he does his overview, or shall we say post city council meeting reviews. They're very good if you want basically a summary of what happened on everything. And he said that Jared Peterson had made a quote about how the Renaissance was such a wonderful time for art, and it helped so much in the culture. I can't remember the exact quote he mentioned. Here's the thing, though. In Italy, at the time of the Renaissance, the government that was controlling that area of Florence and Rome and all those little provinces, because at the time the Italian peninsula was not united. Okay? So those little governments, which is basically little independent states, they did not pay for art. Two large entities paid for the Renaissance. It was the Catholic Church and it was the Medici family, which was a very wealthy banking family in Florence. They commissioned works. They were patrons of Michelangelo and Da Vinci and Raphael. The Catholic Church paid for more stuff and more art than probably even the Medicis or any other wealthy family.
That's probably why you have a lot of Christian depictions from the Renaissance.
Well, the Sistine Chapel, that was Michelangelo. So yes, they were huge donors and huge patrons of the arts, the church and the Pope at that time. This was all privately funded. So the government was not involved in one of the most breathtaking, monumental errors of our time. We don't need the government. Get some rich people, and Steve Levine might be one of them. And they can be these people's patrons, not the city taxes. Thank you. No, this is not Soho. This is not the Village. You want art, pay for it yourself. It's that simple. The taxpayers, they want roads, they want water, they want electricity, they want to get to point A to point B, and yes, they want entertainment, but they can pay for it themselves. Better yet, keep their taxes low, and maybe they can be patrons too. All right. Very important dog of the week is Gemma. Gemma is a friendly dog who is about 3 years of age. She is very sweet and so playful too. Gemma will make a great companion for you. She was never claimed by her owner and wants a new home. Gemma is an affectionate dog too. She is at the Plano Animal Shelter, and if you are interested in taking a look at Miss Gemma, please go to planospoliticalpitbull.com and click on the link Pitbulls for Adoption. That is all the time we have for today. This is Esther.
And this is Ruth.
For Plano's Political Pitbull, signing off.